There is no other woman on this planet who has such intricate hair and needs such intricate hair care. And that is why Black women are so connected. If I could take a guess, I would say that Black women are so creative, strong, resilient, connected, collaborative, loving, nurturing, all of those good characteristics that come from Black women. Our hair has got something to do with it. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Bri Speaks podcast. I am your host, Bri Speaks, and if you're new here, I am the intersectionality expert who created the 6 narcissistic social hierarchies of control. The six narcissistic social hierarchies of control are patriarchy, capitalism, corporatism, racism, ableism, and religion. And so today, underneath one of those hierarchies is racism. And we will be talking about Black hair, 4C hair in particular, and the magic that it holds, and how couple of things, people who hate 4C hair, obviously they're just jealous, but 2, how the suppression of Black hair, because of the magic that it has, the suppression of Black hair throughout colonization and current modern day times is spiritual warfare, and it is witchcraft, and specifically Black women wearing weave and or shaving their heads is a form of psychological warfare and manipulation / it's a spell. And I want to tell you guys how, because I figured it out. So here we go. So first, how is 4C hair magic? So I want to start, got to start anecdotally with myself, because that's where my awareness about hair and how my hair makes me feel first resonated, was obviously with my own experiences. And so, I'm a Black girl, I'm a Black millennial, Black woman. And throughout my childhood, I did grow up getting perms, chemical straighteners. If you are not a Black woman and you don't know what a perm is, or you think that a perm includes making your hair curly, a perm in the Black community is a chemical relaxer that relaxes the curls in your hair and makes them straight. So your hair will be straight without, using a hot comb or a flat iron or anything. You just wake up and your hair is straight when you chemically relax it or you chemically straighten it. You permanently alter the bonds in your hair that causes the curls, and you destroy those proteins so that they become these limp, lifeless, straightened pieces of hair. So I grew up having that done from, as long as I can remember. Probably first perm was maybe like 8 or 9, maybe 10. And I got relaxers all the way until my sophomore year of college. I decided, I don't have to do this. I don't want to do this. Let's try the natural thing. And so after I did my big chop, I wasn't, the biggest fan of my hair. Someone who had straight hair, and then, the society, racism specifically, tells you you're supposed to have straight hair in this social construct. The more Eurocentric you are, the closer you are to whiteness, the more beautiful or ideal you are. That is what society tells us, based on media, based on who gets representation, who gets attention, who gets the biggest modeling deals, the biggest acting deals, based on everything that society rewards. We know. So I don't feel like hearing anyone argue in the comments saying that European standards are not, that's not the societal standard. For the people who own the political and economic capital and power of the world right now, which are Caucasian people, those people who are narcissistic. And whenever you are narcissistic, you only want to see yourself visualized in the world, because if you see anyone else, you take that as like an attack on yourself or a threat on yourself or anything. So white people have done this work on the world to ensure that everyone believes that whiteness is the beauty standard. So that does exist as a social construct. Glad we're all on the same page. Okay, great. So as a Black woman, when I am now, coming of age and I'm embracing my natural texture, and I was going to a PWI, mind you, I was surrounded by all white people all the time. I immediately, immediately started wearing a lot of braids, a lot of weaves, a lot of straight hair with bust downs or tracks. I started wearing all of those things, and it made me, just realize I still wasn't very comfortable wearing my natural hair. Um, and so I'll save you all of the drama. It all ends with I start wearing my natural hair. I start learning how to take care of my natural hair. I start learning how to do my own natural hair, and I start loving my natural hair, and I think it's fabulous. I think my hair is chef's kiss. But occasionally, I would still go and get braids if especially if you got a vacation and you want to, not have to think about doing your hair if it gets wet in the pool, et cetera, which, again, ladies, I feel like I figured that out too. It's like your hair can get wet and you do have to wash it. And you do have to retwist it. And there is more work that goes into maintaining like 4C hair at in its natural state. That is a fact, but that is a design, not a flaw. And that goes into the magic of 4C hair. And so going back to so now I'm at a point in my life where I wear my natural hair in its natural state, like the majority of the time of my life. It is a rare occasion for me to go to a braider and get my hair braided. That is like I wouldn't even say special occasions because I also had to deconstruct from my mind the fact that if it was a special occasion, I had to hide my natural hair. Like when I start really peeling back the layers of how I felt about my natural hair and what it meant to be beautiful, you learn so much about what you think about yourself and the views that you have adopted from society. So even when it's now like a special occasion, I still don't feel like the need to go get my hair braided. And that's again not to say I don't love my hair in braids. Like this is the twist out. I will twist my regular hair. I twist my hair often. I wear like twist outs. I do different styles. Although I have my one regular go-to style, which you can see in most of my videos. It's just like essentially a simple twist out, but it is always my natural hair. Okay. So as I learned how to do my natural hair and I learned to stop hating my natural hair and I learned to stop depending on different weaves or braids to feel like I save time on doing my hair because I can wear those styles, for like a month straight or maybe two, depending on what it is, and not have to do as much work. But so I was doing that. But then I realized once I started learning how to do my own hair that I genuinely enjoyed that time. And when I didn't have that time to myself to do my hair, like I didn't like it. I didn't love it. It didn't make me happy. And so I'm at a point in my life where I look forward to wash day because that is truly my self-care time. It is when I get to show my hair love, show my hair care. I get to watch my favorite show, or I get to like think through like life or deep problems that I've been having. I get to just sit with myself and be with myself. It is literally a forcing mechanism for me to sit with myself and think about like touch base with who I am, what I like, what I want to do, where I'm at with my goals, like all these things that come up when I'm like in the shower and I'm doing all of my deep conditioning and my detangling. If I'm not watching, a show in the shower or something, which occasionally I will. Hey, we all, but no matter what your wash day routine looks like, you're going to have inherently more moments of silence and to yourself, selfness than you are in a regular day. Now, take that. That is when a Black woman is taking care of her own hair. Now, understand that Black women have grown in community for all of ancient history, all of time. And a lot of that is because of our hair. Because our hair takes so much time to care for and to style and to detangle and to do things with. And not to say so, like, because again, it doesn't really the time is whatever you want, but like braiding, like long braiding styles, just different things that we do with our hair. It does take time. And because we have other women in our communities doing our hair, we do each other's hair as like dang, I know you got all this hair. It's like, it's always easier to do someone else's hair than it is to do your hair. And so it naturally and organically creates a space for Black women to come together, to talk, to debrief, to exchange culture, to exchange cultural values, to share, to like as a child, as a Black woman, we all will have that memory of sitting between our mom's legs and getting our hair braided or done in some sort of fashion. That memory, it connects all Black women everywhere. That our hair it is a built-in natural connector point for Black women for expression, right? So if we are feeling some sort of inner like turmoil or trouble or joy or pleasure or glee, like however a Black woman is feeling, it's going to be expressed through her hair. Like if she is a more, eccentric woman, your hair is going to show it. If she's a more conservative woman, like not when I say conservative, I don't mean, the red South, but I mean conservative in like her personality. If she's like a more introverted or quiet person, her hair might show it, and her hair it may or may not, but likely will be a representation of who she is. And as Black women, like that is always how our hair has been, even back to when we were in kingdoms. It was like if you shaved your head, you were a recent widow, and people would like bring you stuff and pass you in the street, and they would know that you were a recent widow. Or if you wore your hair like in a certain crown like fashion, you were royalty. Or if you like whatever you did with your hair, if you wore your hair a certain way, that meant you were a certain age. Like our hair has always been a marker of who we are in some sort of way. And because it is such a complex entity, it has always brought Black women together in fellowship and in congregation and in collaboration with one another. And so when I think about that, when I realize that, like, so that is one that's a part of the magic. There is no other woman on this planet who has such intricate hair and needs such intricate hair care. And that is why Black women are so connected. That is why we are the 92%. That is why that block of mentality of thinking is so strong, because Black women, it's not obviously all because of our hair, but if I could take a guess, I would say that Black women are so creative, strong, resilient, connected, collaborative, loving, nurturing, all of those good characteristics that come from Black women. Our hair has got something to do with it. Because we have to work together to do our hair, because of the way our hair is created, it creates community, it creates bonding, it creates everlasting love between all of us. And this is from a Black woman in America to a Black woman in Jamaica to a Black woman in Africa to a Black woman in Brazil. Because of this hair that we have, there is this interconnecting, interlocking love between all of us, and no other race of woman has that. That is so uniquely special to the Black woman. Like, I'm not gonna say I've seen like, Indian women or Pakistani women, and they have like really kind of intricate rituals to like oil their hair, to do things to make their hair grow very long, and that's lovely and beautiful, and it's a wonderful cultural tradition. And Black women still have that, like we're doing this to help our hair grow, and then also we're doing this one as a labor of love, because it takes so much time to do another Black woman's hair, and then two, we're doing this as truly as an expression of ourselves. So like just ensuring that not to say just, I don't want to minimize any other culture's traditions, but if everyone wears their hair the same way, and so you differentiate by, how long or how short, or, your part on the left or the part on the right, that is different than Black women. And so I'm like, my hair is like it's like a curly puff right now. It's not really an Afro puff. It's like a curly puff. But then another woman can wear a big Afro puff, and another woman can wear two Afro puffs. Another woman can have her hair, braided to the back. Another woman can have locks. Another woman can have twists. It's just like the versatility is so limitless. It literally becomes a unique way that individual Black women can express themselves. But not only express themselves, we've also used it for communications. I've seen, historical documentation of Black women braiding their hair into like literal maps for the Underground Railroad, and like just using their hair as a way to navigate terrain or remember things. Like the hair is, y'all, when I say it's magic, it's a tool, it's a magical tool, and it's all these good things. And so that brings me to weaves and shaven heads. I'll start with shaven heads because that'll be quick. But I was looking at some girls in Nigeria, and how in a lot of Nigerian schools, the Black girls are made to cut their hair, shave their hair bald, like buzz cut, shaved.
I do a lot of young girls across Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and many other African countries often have their hair shaved in school today. Yorubas to the Akans to the Zulus, hair in pre-colonial Africa held a lot of value. Showed status, symbols, spirituality, age, and many things in between. Though it's quite normal now, the practice of shaving the hair of young Black African girls in school actually has deep colonial roots. On the coloniality of hair within the African context, so Ejeka, barrier. When we talk about the remnants of colonial practice in Africa, this is often missed. Why did we decide to start shaving the hair of young African girls in school? During the colonial era, Western education was introduced into the systems from missionary schools and government schools as a way of civilizing African students. In their civilizing attempt, grooming codes of conduct were introduced, and these grooming conducts were shaving the heads of young black girls in school. In the European context, short-shaved hair meant hygienic and orderliness, whilst African hairstyles were seen as primitive and unkempt. Some missionary schools even went to the extent of citing shaving hair as moral and religious cleanliness. They even cited the Bible for this. African hairstyles were seen as a form of distraction. Over time, the policy of shaving hair in schools became embedded into the African education system. It even survived the independence of a lot of African countries and still remains a part of the colonial legacy within education that exists today. Shaving of hair breaks cultural continuity, especially in beauty practices. Think about how practices are handed down generation to generation, and the imposition of making them cut their hair to be educated breaks that pattern of passing on history and culture down through the art of braiding hair. The shaping of hair today for a lot of people is a choice. The history within schools in Africa remains a colonial imposition. The coloniality of hair shows that the control and policing of black hair didn't stop when colonization stopped, especially in Africa. Instead, colonial power structures and rules are still applying in a post-colonial Africa. And today, these rules still apply, with a lot of international schools still imposing hair policies onto black African students whilst allowing their white counterparts to come in school and exist as they are. For me, the solution will always be choice. Choice to pick the hairstyle you want, choice to exist as you choose to be, and choice to show up as you want to be.
It is considered a distraction. And one, how that came from colonial roots, because they wanted black women to, like, there's always been an attack on black hair. I'm just like, from colonialism in Nigeria, where they made the black girls shave their hair because they wanted them to, assimilate into white culture, or they felt it was a distraction, all this stuff, all the way to, we had to do the Crown Act here in America because black hair was being discriminated against in the different styles that we wore. But that also brings me back to like the 1920s. I don't remember the age, but there was a time where black women, before the civil rights era, where we were wearing our hair in our big afros and styles and adornments, and we had our jewels and our feathers and all the stuff we do to express ourselves and bejewel our lovely crowns. And white women got jealous, and so then they passed a law saying that black women had to cover their hair, and then black women, we started wearing our silk scarves and we were covering our hair, but then we would adorn and we would bejewel and we would match our scarves with our outfits, which is a very that's a very Afro cultured thing. It's like black women wearing big head wraps with that match their outfits, and that just look good. And so white women got mad at that. So it's just like there's always been this attack on black hair. And when I think about the connectedness, the generational passing down of knowledge that happens during a black woman's hair session, like, that is why they make these girls in Nigeria shave their heads, because it disconnects them from their black roots, from their blackness, from the traditions of black hair. It doesn't allow them to have those moments with their moms where their mom is sitting there doing their hair for 2-3 hours. It doesn't have to give them the opportunity to connect with their girlfriends where they're doing each other's hair for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, they don't, the moment you make a bunch of black people shave their head, you are taking away this beautiful and inherent and God-given opportunity to work together as a community and a culture, to express yourself, to have that cultural expression of self. And it creates like separation. And once you and as someone who looks at narcissism, one of the narcissist's key goals is always going to be to isolate their victim from other people like them, so that they can't come together and work against the narcissist. The narcissists they love isolation. And so shaving black girls' hair is an isolation tactic. It is a way to make them not have those bonding opportunities to get to know one another, to work together with one another, to closely bond with one another, to love one another, to remember their culture and bring that culture with them going forward, that culture of togetherness and resilience. And so I was just looking at those girls who are shaved bald in Africa, and it just, y'all, it makes my blood boil, because that is intentional. It is intentional witchcraft. And so now we're going into why weaves is witchcraft. So during my natural hair journey, eventually I got to the point where I wear my hair, like 90% of the time, the hair on my head is whatever grew out of my head. That's what you're looking at. But occasionally there is that 10%. And so over my natural hair journey, one thing I have realized is that when I was wearing weaves and wigs and tracks and all of these extensions on my hair, whenever I took my hair out, I didn't like my hair, right? I didn't love the way it looked. I didn't really know how to use it or work with it very well because I wasn't working with it very often because it was most of the time covered in some sort of wig, weave, or braids. And so because the majority of the majority of the time I saw myself, I was in this wig, weave, or braids. Whenever I saw myself in my regular hair, I felt weird. I felt strange. I felt like this isn't really me. I don't look as good as whenever I have all these other things on my head. But as I transitioned to that proportion being flipped from 90% wigs and weaves to 90% my hair and then 10% wigs and weaves, I have noticed that I have a much different feeling. Now, whenever I wear a wig or a weave, one, I feel very like not myself. I feel like I feel a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little weird. Whenever I put on a wig, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like this. Like I just feel like it's weird. This is weird that I'm wearing this other hair on my head that's not my hair. It makes me feel like I'm not myself. And then the same thing. And then the same things like when I wear braids. Braids is black no matter. Hey, braids is black. And I say wigs are not black, but a straight hair wig. Sometimes I wear curly hair wigs nowadays, but even my curly hair wig is like I don't know. It's not my hair. So it feels weird. I feel weird. I feel different. I feel like a fraud. I feel like this is not me. And so when I wear braids, I won't say I feel like this is not me when I wear braids, because I do feel like braids are, it feels like closer to me, but I notice now whenever I do have braids for like, a month, maybe a month and a half, and then I take them out, I'm like, whew, I'm like glad to have my hair back. It is still like it is while that was cute and I enjoyed it, I feel most comfortable, most normal, most myself, most confident, which is the most important part. I feel most confident in my own hair. That is and so that is when I realized I'm like, huh. Okay, so not only do I feel most confident, I feel very grounded, and I think that's now that I wear my hair that grows out of my head, the majority of the time of my living, waking life, I feel more grounded and confident in who I am. And as someone who studies narcissism, I know that the narcissist wins, or the narcissistic entity, because again, look at my other videos if you're new, but these entities are there. A narcissist is a singular person, but a narcissistic entity is a system or a thing. It's not a person, but it's a thing that has taken on narcissistic traits, such as lack of empathy, such as extraction, such as exploitation, such as taking advantage of, such as controlling an external image of self while being something completely different behind the scenes. All of the ones I talked about earlier, those are narcissistic entities. Racism is one of them. Like racism is really nothing but white narcissism. It is white people as a collective feeling like they are more important than or better than Black people, and feeling like they need to hurt, harm, and subjugate Black people in order to keep their feeling of superiority. But we know that narcissism really comes from a place of deep insecurity and deep self-hatred and deep self-loathing and deep self-inadequacy. And so they project all of those feelings onto the world by treating everyone else like crap. Anyways, so what I have realized is narcissists take advantage of people who do not know who they are. Narcissistic systems take advantage of people who need external validation. And so as Black people and as a Black woman, what I have realized is the more I wear my natural hair, the more I wore my natural hair, the more confident I became and the more grounded in who I am I became, and the less easy it was for me to be manipulated by narcissists and narcissistic systems in my life. And I know that's like that may feel like a long stretch for some people, but I'm telling you, as someone who dealt with and still has to deal with certain narcissists in my life, they only win when you are not grounded in who you are. When you are unsure of who you are or are easily swayed away from who you are, the narcissist will win. They will tell you, "Oh, you're not pretty." And so, if you change yourself like this, you'll be prettier. And then you change yourself like that. And they're just like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Now do this." And then you do that. And then you like, do this. And then you do that. And then next thing you know, you are doing all these crazy things that you never thought you would have done. You're wearing stuff you never thought you would have wear. You're doing things you never, well, I think you're just a different person, because the narcissist will trickle you along step by step from 0 to 100. And by the time you're at 100, you're not like, "Oh my God, I'm at 100. How did I get here?" You're just like, "Oh, I was just at 99. This is 100. Like, that's no big deal." But when everyone else is still sitting at 0, everyone's looking at the person who's at 100 now and just like, they're like, "Girl, you're crazy. Hey, what's going on? Why are you doing this? This is strange." And you, as the person who is under the narcissistic spell, you're like, "What? This is normal. What are you talking about? This is just a Tuesday for me. This is this is a Tuesday." Um, and so I'm just like, I can't emphasize enough how, if you are a Black woman, you need to and have to get used to wearing your natural hair most of the time. Like, your natural hair should be your default. And then if you wear something else, that is, an every once in a while type of thing. So one, and I will say, because I know the first thing everyone's gonna say is like, "Oh my God, braiding my hair helps me help it grow." And it might, but two questions: does it help you? Does it actually help your hair grow? Has your hair grown? Have you met your hair growth journey goals? That is my first question, because everyone says, getting my hair braided helps my hair grow, and then their hair, you know, is still relatively short, or it's been the same length for God knows how long. So is it really helping your hair grow, or are you just using that as an excuse to keep wearing it and not have to learn your own hair? And then, second question was, can your hair grow, even if it is helping your hair grow, can your hair grow without it? Um, and if it can, you should give that a shot, because I used to tell myself the same thing, I go get my hair braided because it helps my hair grow. But 100% me getting my hair braided, especially going to the braiders, even my favorite braider. Like, I have been through hundreds of braiders in my lifetime, and I finally found a braider who is gentle, I will say relatively, compared to any other stylist. She was relatively gentle on my hair. She used great products. And I do feel like whenever I came out of her salon, like, I do feel like my hair did grow. But I do notice that if I consistently got my hair braided, like I take my braids out, let them, let your hair rest for maybe a month, and then go and get more braids again, that was still messing up my hair. Like, my edges have grown back now, but my edges, especially again, also when I was slicking my edges all the time, they were sparsing out. They were very much sparsing out. And when I was getting my hair braided more consistently, my hair was falling out. Like, it's not that it's falling out, but it's just like it breaks more. Like, all of that blow drying, all that combing, all that brushing, like, all of that is contributing to breakage in your hair. Like, all of that tension. Oh my God. So now I used to pride myself on not being a tender-headed person, but now that I don't get my hair braided very much, if at all, really, I am very tender-headed. And it's like, but now I pay attention to that. If something is in my head and is giving me a headache, or it feels like very tight, and I'm just like, and I can feel like parts of my hair like being pulled on, I will take out some braids in a second. First of all, like I said, I don't even get them anymore in my hair. And also, my hair it's grown since I've stopped getting braids, and I learned how to just wash my hair once a week, twist it after I get out the shower, and it's like, and then take down my twist the next day. My hair's grown so much. My hair's grown. It's literally, my hair's the longest it's ever been in its entire life. And I have when I have had the least amount of braids, the least amount of stuff. And you do have to get used to, like, wearing, I guess, like, more boring styles. But the thing is once you start learning how to take care of your own hair, your hair, like, you can do stuff. You can do stuff with your hair that is not boring, that is fun, that is non-damaging, that is like, very tight. There's, like, you can do so much with your hair that is full of fun, full of create, like, it's, at the end of the day, it's still 4C hair. Like, it's not, you don't need weaves or wigs to make your hair grow, and you don't need wigs or weave to have a creative expression of your hair. I know some people not gonna want to hear that, but if you wear wigs and weaves so much that when you don't have it, you feel not yourself or uncomfortable, you are under a spell. You are under a spell, a narcissistic spell that tells Black women that your hair is not good enough as it is. And the more you get used to wearing your natural hair out and to the point where you feel now uncomfortable wearing wigs and weaves, that is you winning. You have beat the system because the system wants Black women to never be be grounded in who they are and grounded in their natural beauty. And if you're not grounded in that, then you will be a victim of the narcissistic system that is capitalist. They're going to make you buy more beauty products. They're going to make you buy more this, that, and the third. They're going to make you're gonna feel the need to wear more makeup. You're gonna feel the need to buy different clothes. You're gonna to buy new clothes. Like you, Black women, we always feel this need to be better than everyone else, or to we have to do 10 times as much to get half of what they got, and I get that. But conforming to the beauty standards by wearing like wigs, weaves, bust downs, and constant braids is you're losing. You're losing. You're losing. I don't know how to explain that, but you're losing, and it makes you susceptible to being taken advantage of in other ways further down the line. Like covering like y'all, and that's another thing. It's like literally covering your hair like I know I don't know how to explain it, but like but our hair grows toward the sun. Our hair grows toward the spirit. Our hair grows in a way that is meant to see the world. I feel like I do feel like I am more aware. I feel like I am more connected to spirit. I feel like I am more spiritually aware. I feel like the world makes much more sense to me now that I've been wearing my natural hair. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that's going to sound crazy, but y'all, if you become grounded in who you are through your natural hair, your black girl powers will awaken. Like that's like not to say you can't get them without it. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. If I'm being honest, I don't know if you can. You will have some. As a Black woman, you're going to have some Black woman powers. But when you get used to wearing your natural hair, the vast majority of the time, you unlock a spiritual awakening. Like I can't. I know y'all. Hey, I don't want to. I don't want to say nothing that, people on YouTube, they're going to say, oh, Bri, can't trust her. But once you know, you know. If you are a Black girl who wears her natural hair the vast majority of the time, you get what I'm saying. It is you know who you are. No one can tell you any different. No one can tell me a goddamn thing. And I get that as like a Black woman mentality in general, which I love for us. Like I wanted to do, and I will do a podcast on how I am, how the benefits of a Black man being taken from the community, which I know it sounds like a terrible thing. But when I look at all of these other women in their cultures and how patriarchal they are, including Black women in the motherland, in like Nigeria and Ghana, these are deeply Christian, deeply patriarchal societies because of colonialism, but also because they had they had both the men and the women, and they both adopted this Christian patriarchal system. And so you have so much patriarchy in Africa right now. But Black women, they systematically took the Black man out of the household and left only Black women to care for ourselves and our families. And so it created this matriarch that I don't think they meant to do on purpose. They try to destroy Black people by taking away men and, not understanding that the patriarchy is really the thing that destroys people in general. And so it gave Black women our identity is essentially we don't give a F about anybody, including our men, because we have the very recent example of Black women being perfectly fine without the Black man. Like all Black women, we have, high, our degrees are going up, our single mother rate is going down. It's just like once you left Black women alone for an extended period of time and then take away systemic oppression, which systemic oppression is still there, but they lift up they took their foot off the gas for just a little bit of time. That's all we really needed. That's all we really needed. And Black women were able to excel from there. And so, yeah, I am grateful to be a Black American woman who is not under the spell of patriarchy and religion, like basically every other grouping of women in the world. And I think that makes us very special and very, very aligned to our ability to shake the table, to shake the table. I feel like every other woman is like, their man and their man has the power, and so they are afraid of their men. But we haven't had men, and so we have our own power, and we're not afraid of men, and we're not afraid to say how we feel to a man who's trying to give us crap or anyone else. Which again is why they fear the Black woman, because we will come together, do our hair, and then figure out how to plan the next worldwide revolution, which, hey, stay tuned. So, in conclusion, wearing my natural hair keeps me grounded in who I am. So, when I wear weaves too often or too consistently, I begin to dislike my hair. I never feel negative feelings towards my hair when I wear it without weaves for a very long time. But if I wear weaves consistently for a while, it begins to affect my self-esteem and how I feel about myself. And that is toxic, that is crazy, that is narcissistic, and that is the narcissistic European racism spell that is spilling into my psyche whenever I participate in those games. Like, if you guys have seen Sinners, the vampires don't get in unless you invite them in. The vampires don't get in unless you invite them in. When you put a weave on your head, when you put a long straight bust down and you say, this looks good, this is cute, this looks better than my regular hair, you are inviting in the demons of white narcissism / white supremacy. You are inviting in the demons of Eurocentric beauty standards. You're inviting in the demons of self-hatred, of lower self-worth if you do that. So don't invite the demons in. Don't invite them in. Don't invite them in. That's all I've got to say about it. And learn how to love your natural hair. And then one other benefit, other than, the eternal bonding of sisterhood that our hair does, keeping us tethered together, is that it makes us smarter. I also wanted to put that out there, is Black women, because we are literally born with this hair, and that we have to learn about, porosities. If it keeps water, it doesn't keep water. It does well with heat, it doesn't do well with heat. How does it curl, does it not curl? Like, how do you grip it, how do you hold it, like, what do you use? It's like, so it also intentionally, it makes Black women smarter. Like, it makes us chemists, it makes us engineers, it makes us architects, it makes us artists, it makes us beauticians. Like, it makes us have great fine motor skills. Makes us have great attention to detail. And so even back during slavery times, they were only importing / kidnapping Black male slaves from Africa during the transatlantic slave trade. But they learned that Black women were actually better at, planting and farming and harvesting, because of the agricultural knowledge that it took, because of the fine motor skills, the detail orientation. Like, when it came to intelligence, they quickly learned that the Black woman was more intelligent on average than the Black male, while the Black male had physical things that were more to his advantage. So they used the Black men for physical labor, while they used Black women for intellect labor. Any intellect, like agricultural, they used Black women for that. And so that is how the importation of Black women started ramping up, because they realized Black women are extremely intelligent, and they were just like, yeah, let me get those too. So yeah, our hair makes us smarter, and I thought that was also cool. It's just like, it just does. If you have to grow up and learn your hair and learn how it works, then you learn stuff and you become smarter. And versus if someone grows up and all they have to do is brush their hair every day, you don't learn textures, you don't learn different reactions, you don't learn different heats. Like, you don't learn anything when you just wake up and brush your hair and then go. And so everyone, Black women, we always complain about how much work it takes to do our hair. But I want to let every Black woman know that that is a beautiful design, not a flaw or a bug. It is a privilege that we have had that has connected all Black women throughout hundreds of years and generations. And that it is something that we should be able to use as a time for meditation, introspection, self-care, and or bonding sisterhood time with the other Black women that we love. It is not something we should be upset about or frown upon, but something that we should all happily and gratefully embrace, because no one else has it, and it makes us exactly who we think we are. All right. That is all. Thank you for coming. I love you, Black women, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. This is Future Bri here. Sorry for the lighting change, but who am I not to shout out myself and promote myself? If I don't promote myself, who else is going to promote me? So if you enjoyed this content and you want to hear more, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That'll help grow the channel so we can grow the word of, how everything in the world is basically a narcissistic system and we need to turn this world upside down in order to get it back on the right path. I just feel like it's a good message to spread if I can think of any. And so please do also follow me on TikTok at Bri.Speaks and then also on Spotify at Bri Speaks Podcast. And if you want to support in any sort of financial monetary way, you can donate at Bri Speaks on Cash App. Or you can always buy my free to ADHD hoodie, which someone just bought it today. I'll put up a picture of what I sent them. If you buy a hoodie, I am now doing personalized handwritten notes. It's the best I got because I can't afford to buy like super fancy packaging or anything, but I can send you something with love and intention. So if that is good enough for you, it's good enough for me. And honestly, the way that you can't get a handwritten note these days, it's worth its weight in gold is the price of human love. Last thing. I forgot the whole reason why I wore this shirt was because it says wild hair don't care, and it is a Black woman with an afro with like an Africa ring. And I was just like, I just love this shirt and I thought it was super appropriate for this conversation. And then I'm realizing like my camera doesn't even show it. So anyways, I want to show you anyways. If you're still here all the way at the end of this, please do drop a inverted triangle in the chat because woo, you made it. Good work. Sorry for my jumps and my bumps, but I appreciate you for sticking around. Have a wonderful, fantastic, bright, full of light and love day. Bye.